Together.
Romantic life. Get that. Get some soundtrack in there. Ba-da-da, ba-ba-ba.
Hey there, welcome back. We're going to do another Q&A with Michael and I. We're going to talk a little bit more about questions that you guys have asked about how to work with your spouse when you're in business together. We have a whole list of questions. Michael thinks the first question is too intense to start with, that we should start with something
It's
a
just
little bit
heavy.
Okay. It was a question of how do you handle different levels of drive and ambition
And
between the two of us?
Because I'm sensitive to the subject.
No, well, it's because we've struggled with this.
Yeah.
So instead of asking that, why don't we talk about, before we dive into that, what our love languages are? That's more lighthearted.
That's fun.
Yeah. What's your love language?
My love language is quality time.
Yes. My love language is a mixture of
She's all of them.
Gifts and words
And
of
whenever you don't do one of them, she lets you know.
Gifts and words of affirmation.
It used to just be gifts.
Yes, and he is. You are good at loving
good
me.
gift giver.
He is a good gift giver. I, on the other hand, am not a good gift giver.
Good thing that's not my love language.
Yes, and I went through a season in our relationship where I only made him things, and it got so bad that there was a point where Michael said very politely,
Just don't do anything.
Don't make me anything. It'd be okay if you never made me anything else again. And
I don't think I said that.
And I don't think I've done it. Once he said it, I'm like, I'm not making you anything else. I was
what
so
are some
hurt.
things that you made for him, KK?
Oh, would you like to see?
I just want you to tell me.
Oh, no, it's here.
That's even better. Yeah.
Let me show you.
One thing she made for me was I love playing board games with family members, and she made me like a 3D frame, like of a Monopoly board, and like glued. Like,
Don't
the
act
money.
like you think it's cool now. He didn't think it was cool. He
And
told
I-
his mom recently that she could sell it in a yard sale, and I said.
And then I said, never mind, it's not worth anything.
Okay. Anyway,
This is great. This is great.
This is a scrapbook I made him from his senior year in high school.
No, for my senior year.
Oh, and this is the note I said.
Oh my
Open
goodness,
this,
we don't need to read all this.
Open this box and you will find a gift that took a lot of time. So many memories I couldn't stop. And now the book's about to pop. As you look from beginning to end, it's plain to see that we're best friends.
That's right.
Guys, he loved it.
I mean, like my childhood.
Yes.
In a scrapbook.
These are pictures before we weren't even dating here. We were just hanging out all the time, and I'm sure everyone thought it was
we
weird.
started dating.
Yes.
See, this is so much better than, let's talk about Michael's lack of ambition and drive.
Okay, I wasn't gonna. That you brought that. Anyway, these are. Aren't you? Look.
Oh.
He was what?
4.
4 or 5. I was like 3. Anyway. So yes, love language. Mine is gifts, and I try to love him by creating elaborate
Things.
But really, all Michael needs is time together.
That's right.
So now that we got all that out of the way,
Hold on, Ty has something to add.
what?
Michael, what are some gifts that you remember KK making you?
There were a lot of picture frames. I guess that's funny to think back, like even before you were a photographer, that like it was more like the scrapbooky, like Mod Podge, like
Yes.
custom frames. More in like the scrapbook
I
realm of-
recreated a Van Gogh painting for you.
Oh yeah, you painted me a picture.
I painted him "Oh Starry Night," and I thought it was.
It's not Oh Starry Night.
What's it called?
Starry Night. Oh Holy Night. Oh Starry Night. Can that be the title of this video?
No.
Oh Starry Night.
Okay, we're gonna move on to some questions now. So this is actually beneficial
Yeah.
for people.
Sorry.
Okay, so let's go back to that first question.
Okay.
And we're not jumping into your level of drive and ambition because you know that I would say we were unhealthy on both ends of the spectrum.
Sure.
So the question is, how do you handle different levels of drive and ambition when you're working together with your spouse? You explain what our dynamic is.
I think our dynamic is
Be nice.
Caitlin has a lot of ambition and drive, which is amazing when you're an entrepreneur and creating a small business. And I came along and was willing to support and encourage you in that, but could go to bed at night without thinking about it. Whereas Caitlin is constantly thinking about it. So,
And it also shows up in the way that we view like future planning. I am always under the impression that I have to create the next thing.
the glass is half empty, if you will. And
Not-
it's draining quickly.
It's not always half empty, but it is,
And I'm
never satisfied.
right. And I'm like, it's fine. We're going to be fine.
Yeah,
And
like
if it's
you
not
talk,
fine, it's going to be fine.
you talk about there being,
Sorry.
this also shows up in our relationship in, like thinking about the future. Like you'll say phrases like, so when are we going to be like done?
Happy. Satisfied.
Happy? We're
no,
happy?
like not that we're not happy. Like
Satisfied though.
right. How many courses do we need to create is something that I've thought. Like
Well, and see, to me, I'm like, what could we do next? And Michael's like, when have we done enough?
yeah.
And what has happened in our relationship is that I have sometimes viewed that part of him as being lazy. And he has viewed me as being, I'm just never happy or satisfied. Nothing is ever good enough for her.
Or that the business is the most important thing to you.
Yes. And we have spent a lot of time working through
that.
this. And what we have found in a nutshell, I mean, we've worked on this for years and
Yeah.
we've had,
We're not going to give you the answers in the next 2 minutes. So
I mean,
if that's
it's-
what you're looking for.
it's years of this, but we can give you some highlights to what we have realized. And one of the greatest things I think that we've realized is that we had to get very clear and honest and open with each other about how we truly viewed each other and what we judged each other for.
Sure.
Like I had to start being honest with him and telling him, yes, I do think you're lazy. And sometimes. And because I think that, I filter everything I see you doing through that lens. And then we constantly have this ongoing battle between the two of us because I have that filter on.
Right.
And you have that filter on of me.
Sure. Where if we're sitting watching an episode of a show or something and you pull your laptop out to do a few emails and my love language is quality time and you know that, then it's just showing me that, okay, the business is more important than I am.
Right.
Reinforcing that judgment that I have.
Right. And being open about it, though, has allowed us to, it's kind of like cleared the air almost. Like it's like almost refreshing to be like, instead of me just being annoyed and being like sarcastic when I asked you to do things or kind of passive aggressive.
Right. We've started respecting that we're different and
choosing to believe the best in one another and choosing to believe, which our relationship coach has helped us realize that like, I need Michael to be exactly who he is. Because if he wasn't exactly who he was, we would be in a very unhealthy relationship when it comes to work.
right.
And if both of us were like Michael, we would not have.
Just like, what are you going to say?
If both of us were like you,
We'd have a lot of fun.
we'd have.
We'd go on a lot more vacations.
We'd go on a lot more vacations, and we'd probably have a lot less money. Because,
Money.
oh my God.
Money, money, money. Money, money, money.
But I think that's just because you are also the spender.
Yeah, that's a whole nother
That's
video topic.
We'll talk about that on another day. Anyway, so how do you get your husband motivated about business growth? And a lot of these questions are coming from other women that follow me who are bringing their husbands on to join them in a business they started. Very similar to our story.
So let me answer first.
Okay.
How do you get your husband motivated about business growth? Ask them. Don't just tell them. I mean, you are the dreamer and the visionary of the business, but there's something about being a part of the conversation versus, come along or get left behind type feeling.
That's a great answer.
What were you going to say?
I was good. I feel like you're judging me right now.
I'm interested.
I was going to say that I do think there's a difference between being a leader and telling people this is what the plan is. Do you agree? And versus coming to you and saying as a team, let's brainstorm together.
Right.
Being like inviting you into being a team and not being like just this person above everyone. Like I don't want to be above everyone else.
Right.
Feeling like they don't have a voice.
Sure. Another judgment I have against Caitlin is that she lets her computer battery go to 4%
It's about to die.
and it's about to die. So
It's okay. I'd like to push the limits. So another question, how do you handle conflict in front of clients?
This is who asked this?
I don't think
Did you come up with these questions?
No. I mean, I don't think we show conflict in front of clients. We hide that.
We should ask our clients. That would be really interesting. Could you tell that we were tense on your wedding day?
I think this past weekend, the sister of the bride saw me argue with you.
The sister of the bride, who was also one of our brides?
No, the other sister.
Oh, the other sister.
I think I like said something or was frustrated with you, and she was like right next to me. I'm like, oh shoot, she probably heard that. No, I mean, but for the most part, I feel like when we have conflict during a wedding day, we hide that well.
Yeah.
Like we would never. We're very careful to never let our clients see us be like, Michael, just get the bag. Like we wouldn't.
I mean,
You don't.
I think there probably are some tones.
In a rush of something.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're pretty careful. A lot of our arguments or our tenseness is it's behind
Yeah.
closed doors. It's during.
We let it build up until dinner time.
But I think we hide that well, and
Yeah.
I think that's important because I do think that is a level of professionalism that matters.
Sure.
Like if I was a bride and I hired a husband and wife team and I saw them bickering during my wedding day, that would really worry me, and it would be really frustrating to me. I think we work really hard at being incredibly positive in front of them.
Yeah.
We had that happen this past week at Boston. We shot a wedding in Boston, and it was 30 degrees. Everyone was freezing. And we just wanted to step inside the library, which was their wedding venue, for like a few minutes to warm up. And we were like told, even though the general public was in there, we were told like, you have got to leave.
Yeah.
And we're like, they paid to be here. And I was getting
Kayla was
so
about to have
frustrated.
some conflict with a security guard.
But I realized like the bride and groom are not pitching a fit, and they paid for it. It's not my job to
Yeah.
pitch a fit about this. So another question. It says, how does this impact your home romantic family life? And I think they say working together.
Romantic life. Get that. Get some soundtrack in there. Ba-na-na, ba-ba-ba. How does what impact?
I think working together.
Oh goodness.
Um,
Ty, you're not allowed to laugh.
okay. I would say, well,
I think it's challenging. I think it's the easiest way to say it. It's like the biggest blessing, and then curse is too intense of a word. But
It's
it
a
is
challenge.
a challenge.
I mean, one thing we always say is like we never have an opportunity to miss each other.
Sure.
Like he doesn't go to another job from 9 to 5. My sister and brother-in-law, like we would see him come back from work and and kiss her when he came in. It's like, hey, how was your day? And I'm like, why don't we ever do that? Oh wait, because we're never apart. We are never not around each other.
Right.
And I think sometimes, it's grass is always greener for some people. It's like they would love to have all this freedom and be in the house all day with their husband, but there is beauty to being able to have distance and then come back together.
Yeah. And I think it makes it hard too for the kids because they see us at home, but like we shuffle them away during work hours to really try to focus. And so that's the challenge, but it's also awesome because somebody can text us and be like, hey, come down, Graham's about to start walking, and we're there and can witness that.
There's pros and cons to everything. It is a wonderful experience to work from home and to be able to be at home with our family, but we miss out on some stuff that I think other married couples get to enjoy.
Yeah. Family life.
Family life. Yeah. There is, I do think the lines are crossed a little bit, a little blurred, because maybe in the past more than, Emmy, I don't know if we explained this before, but my sister, we made her the CEO of the business. And that sounds so bizarre to say because I started the business. It's Caitlin James Photography. We are the owners of the business and she works for us, but her gifts, she's created to be more of a CEO role than either one of us were. And I was trying to be the CEO role of checking in on everyone, mainly him, and it was not going well.
Healthy.
And I know that not everyone can do that, but there's no reason why some people that, if you have an assistant or there are people
Or even just a business manager.
Yeah, that can be the project manager that can check in on everyone's progress so that you don't have to be the person checking in on your spouse. That has changed, I think, our relationship more than anything.
Sure.
We almost decided that you weren't going to work for the business.
Yeah.
Not just because of you, but because of
She almost fired me.
I did almost.
But now Emily can fire me. Which she's threatened to do.
Yes. I will say though that it just in full transparency, it got really bad.
Yeah.
We were convinced we were not going to be able to have a healthy work relationship, and then made a simple switch to take me away. Like, I don't have to talk to him about what you're doing. I don't check in on you about what you're doing.
Right. Or you don't have to worry about if I'm getting done what I need to get done.
Right. You
That's
have a
Emily's
relationship
job.
with someone else that is making sure those tasks are getting done and that you are up to date. And like we said in the last video, we started doing team meetings. Like, I stopped.
My idea.
It was his idea. And they've been awesome because everyone's on the same page. Whereas for me, I just wanted him to read my mind and be on the same page.
Yeah.
So.
Just do it.
Yeah. Couple more. What tasks did Michael start with when we first got started working together?
Basically charge the batteries. That's what I was allowed to do.
I will
Let's
say,
start small. Can you charge these?
I will say I started small because I didn't know you were working full time.
Right. No, I was a joke.
Yes.
I cleaned lenses. I packed the bags.
And that was a huge help. The first thing you really did that I noticed, like, oh, it's so nice for me. Like, I didn't do any prep before. I just like made sure.
Grabbed the bag and went to the shoot.
Yeah, and that's really helpful. And
Yeah.
to this day, you still do that,
Right.
Which is helpful. And then it transitioned into you started doing all the travel planning,
Yep.
directions. If we have to book flights anywhere, just you started managing all the logistics. Then you started doing tax stuff,
Financial stuff.
Then you started doing like all the financial stuff. And then you start doing like specialty projects that, you know, like you have a role in KG All Access. Once you do your role, then I do my role for KG All Access. And we have a lot of different parts of our business that kind of work like that. But
Right.
it was a gradual evolution that started with me being a little bit of a dictator,
And a control.
control freak. It's fine to say that.
From the beginning, it was more, what do you need help with?
Mm-hmm.
I have more of a servant's heart. And that sounds funny to say, but no, really, like, I just, my little mantra that I would always say is my job is to make Caitlin's life easier. And so whatever I can take off of her plate, I wanted to at least try. And there were a few things, like post-wedding workflow that I was not,
That we tried.
we tried and things just kept slipping through the cracks and I just wasn't able to keep up with it. And I still to this day don't necessarily know why, but
I think it just wasn't a good fit. And I honestly think that we had already established a pretty unhealthy work dynamic where like you knew that I wasn't believing the best in you and I was
Right.
frustrated with you. And that just kind of spurred on more disappointment and more like dropping the ball. It was just this unhealthy dynamic. And
Right.
because I think now with our team meetings and our new business structure, I think if we handed those tasks back in, I think it would be fine now.
yeah, maybe.
So the last question was, Michael always interested in photography? And maybe a better question would be, has Michael ever been interested in photography?
Yeah, I think I've been interested in photography. I think when I first started with Caitlin, it was more, I would come to weddings for friends that I was already going to be at the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
So I might as well have a camera in my hand. My mom was an art teacher while I was growing up. So
He's got some artsiness
Yeah,
in
I
his
can-
blood.
yeah, I feel like I can see composition and things
You
like
can.
that. So yeah, done. did some training, and yeah, I think I'm more interested in the people side of things. Like I
Yes.
like weddings to get to know the groomsmen, to get to
Yes.
know the family
That's
of the
his
couples. Yeah,
It's almost like the camera and the photography aspect is just an avenue for him to be able to use his people strengths.
right.
Which honestly, and I don't mean this in a negative way, because he's taken really, if you get the groom's guide, I mean, those are all his images. They're beautiful. You do a good job, but your strength and what you contribute the most, I think, is the people skills.
Right.
That like people I'm running around being crazy, getting everything done, but like he's strengthening our brand by the way that he's interacting with people when I'm in the midst of my like crazy mode. And
Yeah.
I think that it works really well. And I almost think it's a disservice for some people who have second shooters that are like only creative and artsy, that kind of like shrink back and don't engage. Whereas we have the complete opposite, where you're building our brand and almost marketing for us, just being who you are.
Right.
And I'm doing the creative
I'll
side.
go up and talk to the mother of the bride and tell her how beautiful the day was while Caitlin's, scrambling around trying to do family formals, and I'm calling out names for the next group to come up.
But you're
also,
like joking and laughing with each person that you're, like kind
Yeah.
of put. So they love you and they're getting this cool vibe of like, oh, these people are so nice. It's not just Caitlin barking like, all right. If we're
sometimes I forget that I get too social, and then Caitlin's like, "Hey, did you get a picture of the groom by himself?" And I'm like, "Oh,
Oh,
I'll go do that right now."
Yeah.
So that actually kind of gets us into more of the wedding day mindset. So if you have more questions about how we work together on the wedding day, leave those down in the comments, and we'll do another Q&A coming up soon. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe below so you don't miss another video.